there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia and I am the maker behind Knit and Grace. And today I'm bringing you a pretty fun video. It's going to be 15 free sewing patterns, specifically around spring and summer. So I feel like as we're heading into spring and summer, even though I am primarily a knitter and a pretty new sewist, I kind of get the urge to sew more than to knit. It's also really nice that sewing projects really tend to be finished a lot more quickly, so it's always nice whenever I'm feeling the sense of a need for accomplishment. I like to sort of bang out a project quickly in a weekend, and so I wanted to share with you some free, not only sewing projects, but some resources for a lot of free patterns for you today. You know, as hobbyists, our hobbies can become pretty expensive, and so of course, while I always recommend supporting indie pattern designers, it's always nice to be able to get free patterns, especially when you're fairly new in your sewing journey and kind of learning the ropes. So I have 15 patterns to share with you today, so I will jump right in. So the first pattern that I have to share with you is the cult classic, the M7969 by McCalls. And so McCalls is what is considered one of the big four sewing pattern companies, which I believe is McCalls, Berta, Simply Sewing, and Simplicity maybe. But they are considered a big four, so sometimes their sizes can be a little bit limiting. But with this particular pattern, and with actually a lot of the patterns, I find their sizing is completely off, and you can really fit a much larger range of bodies than what the patterns call for. So this is typically a purchase pattern or for purchase pattern. However, if you sign up for Minerva's newsletter, you are able to get this pattern for free. So they have obtained the rights to share the PDF version of this pattern with anyone that subscribes to their newsletter, and there is a short questionnaire that you have to fill out and complete in order to get access to the pattern. So the pattern sizing goes up to a double XL, which for them is recommended a 40-inch bust size, but 48-inch bust size rather. But I personally find that the sizing for this pattern, and I think everyone across the board agrees, is way off. So I think for my bust size, the recommended size would be the XL size. And when I made my 12, it was just like, I mean, it fits, but it's definitely extremely roomy. And then when I made it the second time, I made a large size, and I still feel like I have a little bit of extra room. So the next time I make the pattern, I will definitely be making the medium size. So 2 sizes down from what the recommended size is for my bust. So definitely can get a large range of busts in there. And then also just the nature of the pattern, with it being sort of like a wrapped bodice, you can actually adjust how much or how little you wrap the bodice and just increase, you know, the skirt width for your gathers, and you can definitely get a much larger size range for this pattern. So the second resource that I have to mention for you, and I have 3 patterns of theirs to share, is Peppermint Magazine. And this is a magazine whereby you can get a paper subscription to them. However, they do publish all of their patterns for free on their website. And I will note that sometimes the patterns are a little bit limiting in size ranges. I try to choose patterns that are a little bit more extensive in size ranges, or ones that I've made personally that I think that you can make in a more extensive size range as well. So the first pattern is the Peppermint Magazine, the Peplum top, which I am actually wearing a dress hack today in this blue polka dot fabric, and I just finished one this weekend, or let me see if I move this way, in this pink linen fabric that I hauled, I want to say a couple months back. And so this is actually a top pattern. However, you can hack it into a dress by simply extending the length of the peplum, which is what I have done. That pink version there is my third time making this dress, and I don't recall which size I made, but the pattern has 10 sizes up to a 51-inch bust. And again, the sizing is pretty roomy, is pretty generous, so you can probably extend it quite a bit further than that as well. Then next up we have the pocket skirt, which this skirt is from sizes 6 to 28, so it is a little bit of a more limited size range, but the basic concept of the skirt, I think you can very easily hack if you have just like your favorite gathered skirt tutorial, which if you don't, I am going to speak to one later. But this skirt gives me sort of the vibes of like the gypsum skirt from So Liberated. And of course, whenever you can, please support indie pattern designers. But this skirt has a very similar feel if you wanted to try a skirt similar to that, and it is a free pattern. And so the third pattern of theirs that I have to share, and the fourth pattern in the series, is the jumpsuit pattern. And so this pattern was also in collaborations with In the Folds, as was the peppermint peplum top. I always say the peppermint peplum top. It's just the peplum top by Peppermint Magazine. But it was also created or designed by In the Folds, so this one also has 10 sizes. And even then, the design of the jumpsuit is kind of like a wrap top, so the waist is actually even a lot more forgiving, as well as the bust. So again, it goes up to bust 51-inch. However, I think that you could definitely easily extend the size range for this pattern. I personally have not made this one. However, I have seen a lot of really great examples of this pattern, and it is definitely one of those patterns on my to-sew list. So next resource that I'm going to speak to is fabricstore.com, and so they are an online fabric store that sells mainly linen yarns, and or I think maybe all linen yarns, or yarns, fabrics. You can see where my brain is at this morning. All linen fabrics, and they offer a large number of free patterns as well as patterns to pay for. So I'm only going to go over a few patterns today that I picked out sort of as patterns that I want to make either in the near future or in the far future for my own personal wardrobe. But definitely check them out for additional free patterns. They're a really great resource. So the first one that I'm going to speak to is the Marion, which is a notched collar jacket. And actually, I should back up. Most of their patterns are graded up to size 28 to 30. And so not all of them, most of them are. And I did check the patterns that I'm going to go over today are the ones that are graded in their full size range. So again, getting back to the Marion jacket, this is just a really simple jacket that I think would really elevate your wardrobe, especially during this time of transition now in the spring when you want to just, you know, throw on something light, or even in the summer if you want to get a little bit more dressed up. Linen is a very breathable fabric, so even when it's hot, I find it very comfortable to wear. So this is a beautiful pattern to try out. Next up, we have the Luana, which is an apron dress, and I do believe that they have several apron dresses on the website. However, this is the one that called the most to me, and I do plan on making it actually pretty soon. I just love the idea of an apron dress, especially because you know, you can just pair it with your favorite top or just a plain t-shirt and really just, you know, go. It's a really easy, versatile piece. You can even just wear it under your tops, since they tend to be, you know, very they focus on the skirt rather than the top of the dress, so you don't really feel like you're covering up too much of your dress if you're putting either a top or a sweater over top. So I just think that they're very versatile, especially for this transitional weather. And then ultimately, if you feel comfortable, or depending on the style of the apron dress, in the summer you could even wear it just as a tank dress without anything underneath. This one personally I wouldn't, just because I am pretty full busted, so I do need to wear just a bra underneath everything that I wear in order for me to feel comfortable. But definitely there are many styles of apron dresses that you can just wear as a tank dress in the summer. So next up is it's either the Salome or Salome dress, and it is a sleeveless shirt dress. And this dress is just so beautiful, so stunning, so simple. It does have the collar detail on the shirt, and then it just has a nice gathered skirt. This dress gives me sort of the vibes of the Megan Nielsen Darling ranges if you were to make it sort of collared and sleeveless. So if that is a pattern that you have been looking at and you wanted to try a similar style, I think that this is a great style. And Penny has joined us in the video. Oh, she's gone away today. Next up is Noir, which is a wrap dress, and I think that everyone needs a basic wrap dress in their wardrobe. Recently, I have really been looking at expanding my wrap dress collection, so this is one that I do plan on making up this summer. And what I like about it is that not only is it a wrap dress, but it also has a gathered skirt, so it gives you a little bit of a feel of both, where sometimes wrap dresses can just be simply the wrap. I like the gathered skirt feel, so you can it kind of gives you like that M7969 vibes, where you have the front wrap but then it's a gathered skirt, but just a little bit more fitted and more refined, and then obviously without the big sleeves. So next up I have Jewels, which are shorts. They're pleated shorts, and they actually give me the vibes of the Emerson shorts by True Bias, which I have made several times and I love them to death. And essentially they are really simple pleated shorts on the front, and then they do have the gathered elastic waistband on the back, so it gives you that really refined look while still being very comfortable because you can just slip them on. So this is definitely a pattern that I'm planning on trying of theirs this summer, since I do need some more shorts in my summer wardrobe. And then lastly from the fabric store are the Sarah pleated pants. And I mean, the fact that these are like just beautiful pleated trousers and you can get this pattern for free, to me is just mind-blowing. So definitely if you are looking to get into the trouser game, give these a try. I definitely do have them on my to make list. I do have a few more relaxed trouser patterns in my, I guess, pattern collection, but these are these are like more tapered, they're more fitted. I think that they're just a more classic look, so I definitely plan on making these this summer. And I think the idea of just a pair of linen trousers is just amazing, so you have that sleek, refined look, but also the comfortability of wearing linen fabric. So the next resource that I have to share with you is Sewing Mag UK. So I think it's sewingmag.co.uk, but I will obviously link to them below. And they have tons and tons of free patterns available, not only in terms of your wardrobe, but also for accessories. They also have a lot of children's patterns available. So I did pick 2 patterns. Their sizing tends to be a little bit more limited, so I picked ones that are more tutorial-like, and then you can take a look for yourself for other patterns that they have available. But the first one that I have to share with you is the gathered skirt tutorial. And this one is a great tutorial because you're literally fitting the skirt to your body. It's simple rectangle skirt. You're taking several measurements of your body and then creating the skirt to fit you. So there are no sizes. It's just simply based on your body measurements, which is great. And again, as I mentioned with I forget which pattern it was. Oh, the pocket skirt pattern by Peppermint Magazine. If that sizing is not within your size range, this is a great way to just come up with your own gathered skirt, and then maybe use like the pocket template to make your own pocket skirt. And then secondly, from sewingmag.co.uk is their trapeze dress. And so I personally love just a basic trapeze dress. Throw it on in the summer. It's just big and a big tent, and it's flowy, especially if you're making it in a nice flowy fabric like a rayon. And so this pattern only goes up to a size 20, so again, very limited size range. But the reason I picked this one is because, again, it's a very simple pattern. So I think that if you have like your favorite tee pattern that you have, you can easily use this pattern to modify, or you can use that pattern to modify the pattern pieces for this one, to make your own version of the trapeze dress. And so lastly, I have 3 patterns by indie designers that are available to you for free. And a lot of the times indie designers, if you sign up for their newsletters, will offer one of their patterns for free. And so these 3 are ones that I have found and I have personally downloaded. So first up, I have the Grain Line Hemlock Tee, and this is just a basic tee pattern. It goes up to size 32, and it is designed for knit fabrics, and there are several views of the pattern that you could sew up, and yeah, it's just a really basic pattern, and I think that you just have to subscribe to the Grain Line newsletter. This is one that I have in my pattern library, so from like the very start of my sewing journey, so I'm pretty sure that all I had to do was subscribe to the newsletter in order to get the free tee pattern, and obviously just a lot of Grain Line patterns are just amazing, and I have them in my pattern library as well. So the next one is a pattern tutorial, so not quite a pattern. So again, there is no sizing, it's just based on your body, and it's Fancy Tiger Crafts. They had a collaboration with Isolde Teague, who is a big knitwear designer, and so they created a pocket and tie gathered skirt tutorial. So again, that gathered skirt tutorial, but this one has a cute little flare where it has a front pocket and a nice tie, so it kind of makes it look that apron style of skirt. So very cute, very easy tutorial, and again, it's just made to fit your body. And then lastly, I have the Ellie and Mac Adult PJs. And so this pattern actually goes all the way up to a gender neutral 6XL. So you can make it for everyone in your family, from yourself all the way up to, you know, your partner. And it's just a very versatile pattern. The fact that it's free is amazing. They also have a number of other free patterns, especially for children and accessories, so definitely check them out. So a few other, that was kind of like my main 15 patterns that I wanted to highlight today, but a few other free pattern resources that I have for you. First up is Mood Fabrics. If you are a sewist or live in the New York area, you definitely know Mood is a huge fabric store, and they have a very large repertoire of free patterns. I will be honest, I personally find their website, or you know, their free pattern section a little difficult to navigate, but definitely if you want to take a deep dive into the world of free patterns, they have so many to offer. Of course, as a knitter, I would be remiss if I don't mention Pearl Soho. So their patterns tend to be more oriented to accessories, but they do have a few basic free t-shirt and tank patterns on their free pattern website. But you know, most of their free patterns tend to be like quilts and accessories and baby items, but they do have a few free patterns on their website that are for clothing as well. And then we have Robert Kaufman. They have a large inventory of free patterns. Again, a lot of free quilt patterns and accessory patterns, but they do actually have a pretty extensive library of clothing patterns as well. And then we have another fabric, I guess, distributor, Spoonflower blog. They have a lot of free patterns on their website as well. Again, a lot of accessories and things like that, but still they do have clothing items. And then last but not least, one of my favorite indie designers, I sew a lot of her designs, especially I think I've made like 4 Darling Ranges dresses, which I mentioned previously, but Megan Nielsen does have a number of free patterns available when you sign up for her newsletter. I believe there's the Veronica skirt. She has a few free patterns for underwear as well if you want to explore underwear making. But yeah, I mean, in terms of either starting your sewing journey or if you're looking for free patterns, you know, definitely I always recommend looking at indie pattern sites. A lot of the times, again, when you sign up for the newsletters, they'll provide you free patterns, or you know, just doing a quick Google search and the number of free patterns that come up are endless. I always recommend looking them up on Instagram to see, you know, who else has made these patterns, especially personally for me, since I am a larger bodied woman. I like to see how things fit on larger bodied people. So those are just some of my tips in terms of finding some free patterns that work for you. And then ultimately, obviously, just knowing your style. So yeah, so those are the 15 free sewing patterns that I have available for you today. Again, mainly spring sewing inspired. I hope that you enjoyed this list. Again, I've made quite a few of these patterns. Let me know if you have made any of these patterns and if any of these patterns are free to you. Or new to you, I should say, and hopefully that you enjoy the free resources. Again, like Peppermint Magazine, fabricstore.com, huge inventory of free patterns for you to make. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like, and as always, subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified whenever I post a video. I'm not sure that I'll post a 3rd video this month. I may try to shoot for one, but otherwise I will see you the first weekend of June for my regular podcast episode. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.